Probably by the end of the summer, I'm going to do a video with my top 10 short stories I've read this year. I've read a lot of short stories let's say in the past year. Something I don't do often. I used to when I was in high school. I remember I used to read a lot of short stories, and it's something I just recently got back into, and it's been great. And I heard of this short story, and it just sounded like something that would be right up my alley, so I had to check it out. And I have not read any other stories from this collection, but I did read this. And the collection is called Her Body and Other Parties. There's the cover. And it's written by Carmen Maria Machado. Um, the story is called Especially Heinous 272 Views of Law and Order SVU. Weird, right? This is one of the most creative, hilarious, dark, just satisfying short stories I've ever read. It's actually more of a novella. I believe it was about 60 pages. Um, I've read a lot of good short stories, even this year. I just did a review on Hot Pink by Adam Levin. Great, great collection. Man, this story was incredible. It is very strange. It is told as a series of episode synopses for Law and Order, and it goes through season by season. There's 12 seasons included in here, and so you're reading the title of an episode and then like a one paragraph like plot summary. It starts out reading like you're just kind of basically reading plot summaries of SVU, and then as the story goes on, it starts to get weirder and weirder and weirder and more at times meta and strange, and it starts taking on like a cosmic horror vibe, and it's just weaved in so perfectly to the narrative, and just darkly, darkly humorous. Very, very funny novella. It's very funny. Um, Not to really spoil too much, but just like to give you an example of the insanity that starts to happen in here. Doppelgangers of Benson and Stabler appear out of nowhere and start living their lives for them. It's just gets very strange, and it's very, very funny. Um, I don't have much more to say about this without spoiling, and getting into that. It's a story that, first off, reads in a way that is non-standard, so it's not going to appeal to everybody. But then it's kind of plotless in a way. It's the kind of story that presents the way it presents itself. It does not have a standard through narrative, but there's a lot of little plot going on. Some of it in the forefront, but most of it in the background. And when I finished reading this, you can actually read this story online. I'm not sure where, but if you search it, you'll find the text on a website somewhere. I think approved by the author. And it was like a journal or something, an online journal. She originally published it in, I believe. And so you could read that. So, anyways, I started just checking that out, and I got immediately sucked back into the story, and I read the entire first season again. And I missed a bunch of stuff, just little clever little writing things that just um, that you can tie together. So it's one of those weird ass stories that's definitely not going to appeal to everybody. It's told in a strange way. Um, it's a little confusing and weird and a little bit disturbing at times. But I love this stuff. Like, I thought this was the perfect thing for me. I love Law and Order SVU. I love weird fiction. I love cosmic horror. I thought this was incredibly clever. I thought the writing was excellent. I thought that Machado's prose was super good to read. It was very flowing and never awkward, but it had this sort of um, fragmented sentence style to it that indicates this sort of directness, that is very common with, I read it a lot in like absurdist stuff, but very common in dark humor. Just these sort of short declarative sentences, uh, especially with the tone of the show, that just lends itself to a lot of jokes. And there are a lot of jokes in here, and a couple things that she was saying that I thought were very interesting, the way they were implemented. Yeah, just unbelievable short story, novella, if you will. Unbelievable, amazing read. I had just planned on really reading that story, and then I thought, maybe I'll go back and read the rest another time, but I am just going to go and read this whole thing now. That may be the best story in here, and I kind of, you know what I mean? Uh, but yeah, I can't say enough about this. This is something you hear a few folks talking about this, but I couldn't really find a ton on YouTube for this, at least for this collection. But you can find some stuff of the author talking. She did a couple interviews where she was talking about the process of this. Very interesting. So I give that story 5 stars. It's by far the best story I've read in the past year. It was incredible. And I will read the rest and let you know. But if you like that kind of stuff, I highly, highly recommend this. I don't think this is a story that is incredibly popular that a lot of people know about, maybe in the weird fiction realm, but you got to read it if it sounds good to you. Even if you like Law and Order, just try it. It's great. So yeah, that's especially heinous. It was one of the coolest, most creative short stories I've ever read. Really, it may be one of my favorite short stories I think I've ever read. So yeah, that check it out. I'll be back with something else. Let me know if you've ever read this. That would be cool. If you what you've been reading lately and watching or whatever. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Have a great day.